Welcome. We are your hosts, Chris and Tammy.
In this podcast, we dive into the mindset for networking strategies and skills you'll need to build a solid foundation to build a global business.
We've built a multi-million-dollar business and have mentored thousands of people around the globe in the last 25 years. The training topic is only develop the muscles that will move you to positive results. And I think the analogy with that makes a lot of sense. What you focus on, what you tend to put attention on is exactly what will be the reflection of the results that you will have. And so we want to talk about this evening because these are things that Tammy and I reflect very often as we are focusing our attention and building our empire. And of course, we want to share this with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, whatever we focus on always expands. Of course, we're talking about business this evening, but the more you work on the things that you want to improve on, the better you become. And it's practice. That's the name of the game. So we're going to get right into it. And we put down vision. Chris and I, we always discuss, some of the main things that has worked for us, not just that, but what we see in the field, what works for leaders who have risen to the top, those that are rising to the top. And vision has to be one of the biggest ones. So write that down, vision. Because if you focus on your goals, you focus on your dreams, then you'll always have a positive attitude towards receiving them, right? So it's about focusing totally on that. Because what happens in the day, and we all know this, there's always things that are going to come in our thoughts. There's always going to be a message that will come to you or something that will distract you from doing the things that you desire to achieve. And I'm telling you, when Chris and I decided from the beginning that we were going to the top, we stayed focused no matter what. Of course, there's always going to be some urgency that comes up, and that's called normal reactions when you need to be there for somebody or if something happens. But most of our time is spent on doing the most important things. And at our stage, a lot of it has to do with elevating people. But what is the goal for you? What is your vision? Where do you see yourself in the next 2 to 5 years? We're always saying that, but do you really focus on it? That's the big question. Are you focusing on it?
If you can't see the end results of why you're doing what you're doing, it's very, very hard to stay motivated in doing that. Now, how many of you actually see the end result? How clear is this for you? This is what we're talking about. Because, I mean, many of you know what it is that you need to do. But often is the motivation is lacking. And I'm not saying you do. I'm just saying in general, motivation is lacking because people have a hard time seeing the end result. Why am I bothering doing this? I keep repeating the same thing and I don't see any results.
Yeah, remember, every day's a new day. So if you're not where you want to be, just focus on where you want to go. Every day's a new day. You get to recreate and create. So focus on that. So the next one we want to talk about, and I want you to write all this stuff down, because if you don't have this clear and you're not working towards these items that we're going to share with you, then you're going to wander. Find what you want that you're so passionate about, and do steps every day to move towards it. Every single day. It has to be a daily routine. Otherwise, you'll get off track. If you don't do it for 2-3 days, it's easy to get off track. Business activities, write it down. Business activities. That is what's going to strengthen your muscle to give you positive results in your business. We all know the business activities, but we're still going to repeat them because it's necessary to hear it. And ask yourself, as you're listening to this, Are you doing these? Because if you're not doing these, tomorrow's a new day to get back on track to make it happen.
Yes. So the business activities, we're talking about adding new contacts to your list on a daily basis. As you go by doing your life, as you're going to work on a daily basis, you come across people, always add your contact to a list. So the next thing is elevate the value of your storytelling. It's all based on your story, and a story is what will get people to gravitate towards you, not just about how the product can help this person with whatever discomfort they have. This will certainly attract the attention and incite the desire to want to try the product, or even the business aspect of things to add in a stream of income. But your story is the basic foundation that will actually ignite someone to even look or even to get involved. Remember, people do this business with you because they like you, know you, trust you.
Yeah, because this is really important. People buy you first. And if they don't know your story and you're trying to get them to come and look at something, most likely they're not going to show up. So at some point in your conversation of connection, they got to know why you're there. They got to know what you used to do, why you're here, what was your pivot, what was that turning point for you to be where you are today. And that's when they buy into you. And if they can relate, then they are going to, they're going to have a look.
Here's something that's really, really important. You got to get into the habit of inviting people to either an in-home, a Zoom presentation, or one-on-one. You got to get into the habit of asking. It's like the hockey player. The one that gets the most puck in the nets is the one that shoots the most amount of times. We all know that, right? So that is key, is you got to ask. And the other point is to follow up. The fortune is in the follow-up. And again, out of 9 out of 10 people, really, generally, 3, these are real numbers. Out of 10 people building their business, 3 will actually follow through. And we know that most people may react after the 4th, 5th, 6th, or even 7th exposure. Not the 1st, not the 2nd, not the 3rd. That's the norm. It's usually the 4th, the 5th, even the 7th. 7 exposure is when you got their attention. So this is very important. So follow up and following through, absolutely critical.
You always got to have a system together, which we'll talk about. That's part of the process of building the muscle. But keep that in mind. Keep your list separate. You got to have hot lists. You got to have warm lists. You got to have cold lists. You got to have different lists that you can constantly get back on and work on. Because if you have a bunch of hot lists and you have a hot list and you want to get your numbers in, you go to the hot list. Always ask permission for people to get ready. Ask. People are afraid to ask people. Don't be afraid to ask, because you know what? They're waiting for you to ask them, because it's awkward silence when nothing happens, right? So you want to ask them, hey, are you ready to get started? Hey, what's missing for you to make a decision to get started? Hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, do you see yourself getting started right now? You can just ask questions and just be comfortable to do it over and over and over. Everybody you meet. If the timing's not right, they're just going to tell you. So don't be afraid to ask, and then give them a solution. Give them a solution if there's a challenge for them to do this. Move them towards a solution.
The next step, duplicate. Are you doing that? Because some of you might be doing the first stages of enrolling people into your business, but then what? What happens from that point? Are they growing? Are they building? Or is there always an excuse why they can't show up? They can't do this, they can't do that. And that will come. It comes with a package. But the fact is, you never stop doing these activities, and you make sure that your team are properly equipped. And another thing that's important, and I know many of you have done that, is when you enroll a new person, welcome them to the team by introducing them to a leader that is actually part of your support system. Very, very important, absolutely critical, and duplicate these activities. The next point we want to cover is the mindset, right? Focus on your core beliefs that are in line with your goals. This is very, very important. So the fact is, what are those core beliefs? Because maybe your core beliefs are not in line with your goals. And it could be the reason why it's difficult for you to reach those goals, because your core belief, which are based often on the activities that you choose to do on a daily basis, will end up not reaching your goals or reaching your goals. So the question is, what are your core beliefs? What are the changes that you need to make to your core belief to adjust the course that you're on right now? There's no such thing as luck. You can have a little bit at the beginning, but luck doesn't just repeat. It doesn't repeat, right? For things to keep repeating, there has to be a strategy that you're applying that's giving you the results. So the fact is, what are your core beliefs? What are you focusing on? What are your dominant thoughts on a daily basis?
And I'm telling you, it's all a mind shift. And if you can change that mindset towards what life you want to live financially, when you change that, your beliefs will start to change. You start to move towards it. You start to add a zero. And if you can add a zero, you can add another zero, and you can add another zero.
So the fact here is, working your organization, it's very important to always plan ahead. Whenever I write it down, I'm not kidding, it gets done. But if I don't write it down, it doesn't get done. It just gets forgotten, put in a back burner, or so forth.
It's really important to stay focused on filling your schedule in the time period that you can build your business. Because I get that a lot of people are full-time, and we've been there. Trust me, we've been there, both of us. When we started network marketing, yes, it's easier now because we're free. We can do what we want with our schedule. But before that, it was like everybody else. We had to sacrifice. We had to take time in our schedules to build our business part-time. And we hustled. We worked really hard building it part-time, really hard. But it all paid off. So
the point here, in continuing the thought, is it's very, very important that you are organized and like on Sunday, plan your week. Don't just shoot from the hip. Which brings us to our last point here this evening, is the plan, do, review.
So plan, do, review. So the goal, we talked about campaigns. If you want to elevate your business, you want to build your muscles, you got to have campaigns. They got to be going. So your numbers will always be higher when there's a campaign going on. Mm-hmm. When you have everybody doing the same thing, doing the same activities, doing the same routines, whatever it is that they pick for a campaign.
So as we end this call, guys, what's very important at the end of the day is to review, right? Review what you've done, what has worked. Sometimes it's good to go back to the basics. Not sometimes, in fact, almost every time. Going back to the basics, revising the basics, and see what it is that we've done that have worked before. This is really, really important, that you do an inventory of these things. What you think about expands. Maybe you're saying, well, I've never really reached a rank, and I don't have anybody in my team that we're going to reach a rank. Don't think that way. Focus on what you want, the rank that you want to reach, and the rank that you want your new associates to reach. Focus on those thoughts. I'm telling you, the power of the mind, and start focusing on these thoughts. And again, as you're finishing the year, you want to see, how have you evolved from last year to this year? Has anything changed? Have you stepped forward? Have you done anything that shows any kind of growth? If you see that, then what are the things that you did that got you there? If nothing really changed, what are you doing that should be modified? So these are all the things that Tammy and I reflect on all the time on a daily basis. It doesn't matter what we tell you and what we teach. It's what you think about and how you perceive that information and what you do with it. Okay, everybody. So let's end on this note. So we want to thank you for attending. So good night, everybody, and bye for now.